do you say? What do you know, stupids? Welcome back to the Bubcast, episode 12. We got the preview whiteboard right here. We're going to review NFL Week 8, preview NFL Week 9, discuss the very controversial first college football playoffs, and we'll go ahead and get into it. So, what do you say? What do you know? Welcome. NFL update, Week 8 games. These games ended over this past weekend and on Sunday and Monday. So, crazy updates in the NFL. I'll get into that. We got some firings, some trades, some hirings, some big moves. We'll see what these teams look like. Buffalo started off fast last Thursday night, beat the Bucs 24-18. Bucs continue not to have an offense, continue to struggle. Bills defense did just enough to shut it down. Bills looked good. Bucs got a lot of questions. We'll see how long Baker Mayfield makes it. Is he there next year? That type of thing. Cowboys dominated the Rams 43-20. Is Dak back? Is he where he needs to be for that team? Him and CeeDee Lamb really connected, really did well. I picked him up in fantasy, still lost, but got 30 some points from him compared to what I would have gotten from my quarterback catastrophe. He threw for 304 yards, 4 touchdowns, an interception, looked good. Rams offensive struggles. That high-powered wide receiver room didn't do nearly as much. The run game is a run committee, not really looking good. Rams got a lot of questions. Stafford's mid. The team is mid. You know, he's got those weapons on the outside, but if they're contained, they really can't put heaviness on the run game. Vikings beat the struggling Green Bay Packers. Green Bay has no offense. They can't get their stars involved. Watson's irrelevant. Love struggles. Aaron Jones is not doing nearly as much. A.J. Dillon is getting bulk of the carries. Green Bay's got a lot of issues. Figure out what they're going to do, how they're going to do it. I'm not completely selling on Jordan Love. I think we still need more time. We can't just bail on, especially what all we gave up for him and we drafted him and let him sit for so long. But I do think that he needs some assistance from his weapons and kind of see where they go. This will be a good game for them. It's at home against Minnesota. We'll see what they kind of do. Minnesota doesn't have Kirk Cousins. So we'll see if Green Bay can kind of get back on the winning track after losing to Denver and having a strong not having the last good couple games. Tennessee, Will Levis throws 4 touchdowns and wins 28-3. Yeah, Will Levis looked good for the Tennessee Titans. D-Hop had 4 receptions and 3 touchdowns, so he pretty much had every time he caught the ball, he scored, and he had 128 yards. Henry had over 100 yards, so Tennessee looked good. I know Will Levis is high. We keep that going. That's going to just kind of be how it goes. You really can't base it off one game. They do play tomorrow. They do play tomorrow night at Pitt, so we'll see how that goes. It's hard to say. It's a coin flip game. Will Levis do exactly what he did? I don't think so. I don't think he'll throw for another 4 touchdowns. I think Henry will have to do more. D-Hop, I mean, if he keeps doing what he's doing and gives Will Levis number 1 target, I think those two will connect. But I'm excited to see what he does. I'm also excited to see what they do with Tannehill. So, Derek Carr had a tough week 7, came back and threw for 310 yards and 2 touchdowns. Shaheed had 3 receptions, 153 yards and a touchdown, and Taysom Hill had 2 rushing touchdowns. So, New Orleans got it done. They got a good win. You know, they're using that Taysom Hill running back, tight end, quarterback thing. They looked good. They got, a good win. Nothing to roll the parade wagon out. I don't think they're doing anything out of the ordinary. A good win, good overall win. Nice to build off of. Colts offense needs a little more. I know Minshew is like up and down. It's going to be like that. They lost their first round quarterback. Running game is, Taylor and Moss didn't really do much. 2-headed monster. Receivers, did a little bit. But the Saints had a little bit of everything on offense, so they looked good. Dolphins beat the Pats. Pats still have a lot of questions. I know they beat the Bills last week, and it all looked good and canary, but still have a lot of questions. Is Belichick going to be around? Is Mac Jones their guy? Are they going to rely on Mac Jones? Are they going to go a different direction? Patriots have no offense, no run game, no nothing. And when it relies on Mac Jones, it depends on how the defense he's going up against. They may be good, they may be bad. That all depends on that. Tua had 300 yards. No running game for Miami with that room and the injuries. I'm not sure what kind of productivity they can get with the run game to help with that offense, because that offense is very meh or meh. They either go for a zillion yards or they go for none per se. Not actually none, but it just doesn't look good. Jets beat the Giants in a real barn burner. That 10-13 game. Jets offense was non-existent for 60 minutes, and then, I guess they did just enough to get a game-winning field goal. The teams combined for 4 for 34 on third downs. Trash. Tyrod Taylor was 4 for 7 for 8 yards. Trash. Giants had -9 passing yards. Trash. That whole game is Cheek Sponge Trash of the week. I know you're like, but that's the end of the episode. No, that's now. That was a poor game. Both teams, what are we doing? Figure it out. Both those teams, I get the Jets. Their defense is keeping them in the game, but that offense, Zach Wilson, just throw the ball. You got some wide receivers. Throw the ball. Jaguars beat the Steelers. Lawrence came off that injury, looked a little tweakish, but did just enough. 292 yards, a touchdown interception. Pickett got hurt. Stravinsky struggled in play, but Pickett is playing tomorrow night, so that'll be good for them. Pitt had one offensive touchdown, their defense keeps them in the games, but their offense is just so stagnant that you can't rely on them to produce with the defense shutting their opponents down. So Eagles and Commanders had a great game. That was a battle. That was a 38-31. Hal had a rebound game. He had 397 yards, 4 touchdowns, interception. A.J. Brown, another dominant game, over 100 yards, 130 with 2 TDs. Combined for 35 points in the fourth quarter. Hurts had 319 yards and 4 touchdowns. Washington looked like they were going to come back in and get it. Just didn't have enough in the tank. Panthers and the Texans, battle of first-round picks, Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud. Stroud continues to struggle. He had a couple good games. These next 2 games kind of fell right back to earth. First win for the Panthers, good for them. I think it's a good win for them. I think it's good to help Bryce Young get under his belt and see what he can do, get over that hump. Finally, they don't have that 0-6 record on their back. They finally get a win. Young looked better. Bryce had 235 yards, a touchdown. He was 22 for 31, so threw the ball well. Stroud struggled. I do want to say on the offensive side, Carolina has more weapons than Houston. Houston's got a decent run game, but he has guys he can throw the ball to, so I think Stroud just continues to struggle. I don't think that's going to be forever for Stroud. I think both are going to have a great career in the NFL. I just think Stroud's still, trying to get that up and down game. Browns, I don't want to talk about it, blew a lead in Seattle in the final seconds. 3rd down and 4, and threw the ball, and it got picked off. Instead of running the ball, let the clock run out, or Seattle wasted timeout, pumped the ball. P.J. Walker struggles, can't throw the ball, 15 for 31, touchdown, 2 interceptions. The Browns running game, though, the running game is improving with that 3-headed monster, Ford, Hunt, and Strong. I like that. P.J. Walker just needs to get the ball to Amari Cooper. I think Amari Cooper was non-existent the week prior, and this week he still wasn't non-existent. Njoku, I like how he is in motion and getting those plays. Get him involved. But P.J. Walker just needs to get the ball. They need to make it simple for him. Deshaun Watson, I just don't know. With all that money guaranteed, does he play, does he not? Shoulder, concussion, sit, play. I'm worried. I don't know what's going on. It seems like he's resting way too much for someone who's guaranteed all that money. So hopefully this gets figured out. But yeah, a lot of questions for the Browns, especially with Deshaun Watson. Geno Smith struggled in the second half. He did well in the first half. 2 interceptions in the second half, but then did just enough to win the game. They handed him a goose egg, and he took it down and got a game-winning touchdown. So Seattle, if Geno Smith can be consistent in the entirety of the game, then we'll see what kind of look Seattle has. If he can produce the numbers through the entire game and not be bad first half, good second half, and kind of get a good, solid, consistent game from him, Seattle's not a bad team. They got Kenneth Walker. They've got weapons, and they've got a good defense. I just think the quarterback position, they really need to harp on him giving that same energy throughout the entire game. So, big surprise, Broncos beat the turnover Chiefs. Had 5 turnovers, struggled mightily. Mahomes and Kelsey kept at bay. No touchdowns for Mahomes, under 75 yards for Kelsey, had 58. Wilson had 3 touchdowns, 114 yards. Broncos country, let's ride. Casey had 5 turnovers, like I said 10 seconds ago. I don't know what it is. Broncos gave up 70-plus to Miami and kept Kansas City at bay. Mahomes has been turning the ball over a lot. I don't think it's anything to freak out about. Kansas City's still in a good position. They've had some good division wins. So just tough game for them. Rebound week. Sorry, not year. Ravens beat the Cardinals 31-24. Lamar struggles. Baltimore gets real enjoyment from Gus Edwards, who had 3 touchdowns. They were down 7-0 early and gave up 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter, so Arizona hung around. Gus Edwards really won the game for him. He didn't throw the ball. Lamar didn't throw the ball horribly, but he didn't throw it well. He was sacked 4 times, and Dobbs had 2 touchdowns and over 200 yards. Rushing for the rushing room for Arizona continues to be community. It continues to be a bunch of heads. Arizona's got a lot of questions. Are they going to Kyler Murray? What's going to happen with him? Is it going to be? Is it going to not be? Is he going to bring something good to the company, the team, that kind of thing? Next game, as I predicted on Twitter and on social media, which I hope you all hammered it. That's our new thing, by the way. Hammer it. Bengals beat the 49ers 31-17. Burrow was better, 365 yards, a touchdown, 2 interceptions. Mixon got involved with a touchdown, 87 yards. 49ers offense continues to struggle. I feel like if McCaffrey is not leading that workhorse, that team struggles hard because you can't rely on Brock Purdy to do much other than throw the ball to the other team. Shout out to my big dog in the Y weight room. Andre, your team's struggling, but you're taking on the chin. Respect. A lot of questions about San Fran. If Brock Purdy's not the answer, what are they going to do? I really think that they've chased out away all the other options. If McCaffrey's not the workhorse, what's the option? I know they're out their number 1 receiver, but they still had Kittle and Ayuk over 100 yards, but still that offense, when they get into the heat of the playoffs and need reliance on Brock Purdy in a big game, can he do that if McCaffrey's getting bottled up? Because then when we get to the end of the year, you're going to have teams suffocate the rush, and then you got to rely on Purdy. So I'm looking forward to see what kind of work that can do. So we'll go there. Chargers dominate the Bears during Sunday night game. It was a boring game. Herbert had 3 touchdowns. Eckler had 7 receptions, 94 yards, and a touchdown, so it didn't look good. Bears still struggle on offense. 2 field goals, 1 touchdown. Tyson Baggett, 232 yards, 2 interceptions, 25-37. Not horrible. Second career start looked like you would expect. Nothing to blow up in Chicago, freak out about. But while Justin Fields gets worked back in, he didn't do too bad. He's a game manager, handled it well. There's no rush game for Chicago, so you've got, he's got to do probably a little more than he's comfortable with. But his story is great. I think that he'll be a good addition to the Chicago Bears. I like to see what he can do. If less turnovers, game manage, get his guys involved. I think this will be. They'll have better games than most, so I'm excited to see what the Bears can do. So a lot of questions for Chicago, but I like where they are. I like to see what they can do with their options and see what it kind of goes from. Like I said, I expect better news out of Chicago's offense, so looking forward to it. So we've got some teams that I'm kind of just discussing. What do you all think is the worst? Comment on the video what team you think is worst. Chicago is 2-6. Arizona is 2-6. Carolina's 1-6. Giants and Pats are both 2-6. Carolina, I think, is their situation. I don't think they're a bad team. I just think what do you expect with that type of team? Giants and Pats, those guys, Mac Jones, Daniel Jones, they've got weapons. They've got a team. I know their defense may not be stellar, but they've got enough to at least be a little better than that. And Chicago, I also think is a situation thing with Justin Fields and absolute no defense and the whole drama with Justin Fields thinking blah, 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 being that type of environment. Arizona, based on their record, I don't think they're that bad based on their record. I mean, they've had a few good wins. They've looked good. So I'm probably going to go with the Giants or Pats, just with that situation, all the high and mighty on this. I'd probably go Pats over Giants as one of the worst. So I'm putting Pats at 2-6. Comment in the video. Let me know what you think. And then on Monday night, a couple nights ago, Lions beat the Raiders. Jahmyr Gibbs ran all over them for 152 yards, 2 touchdowns, and St. Brown had over 100 yards. In Vegas, tops our NFL news with firing McDaniels and their GM Ziegler. I just think they got something to figure out. Devontae Adams is probably going to get shipped out. They got rid of Derek Carr, which I thought was silly. Vegas has got a lot to do. I'm not sure who their next coach is going to be, but the offense is stagnant. Devontae Adams wants out. He will get shipped out. Whether or not it's in the season and he rage quits or off season. But yeah, he's not happy. He's not getting the ball. So they got a lot to work on. Chase Young heads to San Francisco. That's going to bulk up that defense. Wow. Defensive line's going to get stellar. So San Francisco's defense bulked up. Washington, I think, is in the rebound. They're going in a different direction. Their defensive line was potential to be really good, and it hasn't been. So I think they're just clearing the slate, and they got a lot of holes on the defensive end anyway. Their offense is in a better shape than their defense, so I'm not surprised. And they also shipped off their other edge rusher to Chicago. So what are they going to do with the line now? Because the line's getting even worse for Washington. So, but Washington has $90 million in salary cap. And they have 3 picks in the top 50 and 5 in the top 100. So Washington, made a few moves on those big guys. I don't think it's bad. Sell high. They're both really good, and they're both going to do things for each of those teams. So get something while it's worth, because, the defense is going to stop their opponents. Sure, Chase Young will go off, and so will Sweat, but their offense isn't going to keep their guys in the game. So, looking to build with Howell, get a number one receiver, get some running work. See what Washington can do with those picks. The defense wasn't really there anyway, and the offense was, believe it or not, backwards. I think the offense was going to be the problem. They were going to be the ones that didn't do enough to score while the defense held at bay, but it was flippy-floppy. The defense was giving up 38, and the offense was scoring 35, so it was like, it's weird. And I respect what Washington did, so we'll kind of see what's going on. So we've got some big games this weekend. 6-2 Dolphins go to 6-2 Chiefs. It's gonna be a really good game. I would hammer the over. I think it's gonna be an offensive battle. 5-2 Seattle at 6-2 Baltimore. Great game. Let's see what Baltimore can do, what the Lamar Jackson can do against Seattle's defense. Make it pesky for him. Best game. Line it up. Put on the TV. Hammer the over. Hammer. I don't know what the line is, but hammer the over. 5-2 Dallas at 7-1 Philly. It's gonna be a barn burner shootout. Looking forward to that at 4:25 this Sunday. And then Bills at Bengals Sunday night, 5-3 and 4-3. Going to be a great game. Looking forward to that. And then tomorrow's game, Thursday Night Football. Let's go ahead and preview that. We got 3-4 Titans at 4-3 Pitt. Pitt's at -2.5. Will Levis will get the start. Pickett will also play. Titans are 0-3 on the road. I like Tennessee to win. Take the 2.5. So I'm taking Tennessee to win and plus 2.5. The under is 36.5. I'd take the under. Both these offenses are going to struggle. I think Pittsburgh is going to make it hard for Will Levis and sack him and make him uncomfortable. And that's what they need to do. They need to make him do more than he's comfortable with doing. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen. So that's my NFL take for the week. I previewed Week 8 and reviewed Week 9. Now we're going to throw it in. It's a little bit of a sidebar, if you may, but yesterday the college football rankings came out, and before everyone hits the brakes on the Bubcast and says, "Oh, biased Ohio State, you biased Ohio State fan," it's the first one. All right, they're building the resume off what Ohio State did. All right, so Ohio State had good wins against Notre Dame, against Penn State, and I get you. Now, Notre Dame and Penn State may not be the teams that when they won, they were ranked. So Notre Dame was ranked in the top 10. Penn State's ranked in the top 10. Will they finish in the top 10? Doubtful. Notre Dame's not in the top 10. Penn State's probably right outside the top 10. I get it. For those Georgia fans, I get your 2 natty champs, Kagan. I get that. But Georgia just doesn't have the schedule at the moment. It's the first one. I'm surprised as anyone else about Ohio State. So we're kind of just going to go through and have a discussion. Leave in the comments who you think the top 4 is. I'll tell you what my top 4 is once I pull it up. But I think, for now, it's okay. I mean, there's so many more games to play. Georgia has so many good games coming up. So does FSU. So does Ohio State. So this is the first one. So let's not let everyone panic. The first one. So we've got number 1 OSU, number 2 Georgia, number 3 Michigan, number 4 FSU. I like those 4 teams. I just think maybe a flippy-floppy. Maybe a Georgia at a 1 and Ohio State at a 2. I would even put FSU over Michigan. I think Michigan hasn't done enough. I think FSU is kind of the same situation as Ohio State. FSU has done a lot. They've won good games, so I'm trying to figure out. I would probably put OSU, Georgia, FSU, and Michigan in my top 4. Leave in the comments what you think. Let me hear what your top 4 is. Love to hear it. Debate it. And then we've got 5 Washington, Oregon 6, Texas 7, Alabama 8, OU 9, Mississippi 10. So that's the top 10. And then you got 11 Penn State, 12 Mizzou, 13 Louisville, 14 LSU, 15 Notre Dame, 16 Oregon State, 17 Tennessee, 18 Utah, 19 UCLA, 20 USC, 21 Kansas, 22 Oklahoma State, 23 KSU, and they play Texas. That's going to be a good game. 24 Tulane and 25 Air Force. You had, I like to see Air Force in it at 8 and rounding out the top 25. So that's a quick discussion. It just came out yesterday. I figured I'd put some stuff on social media. Tomorrow I'll have some stuff on Twitter and TikTok. But that's episode 12. I will be at a wedding this weekend, so Sunday night's episode will come out a little later in the morning, probably around 12:30, 1 in the morning. So let me know what you think about these episodes. Like, subscribe, our social media, Instagram, Bubcast Official. I'm posting like crazy. Every episode gets better. The whiteboard's a vibe. I appreciate y'all. What do you say? What do you know? Like I said, hammer it, hammer it, hammer it. That's my new saying. Take Tennessee at +2.5. All right, y'all have a great Thursday.